This is the plaintiff, Nana Osei Tutu. She says the defendant, her neighbor, hired a tree service to cut his tree down and they ruined her fence. Neither the landscaper nor her neighbor apologized for the damage caused. And when she complained to the landscaper, he flipped her the bird and told her to go talk to God. Huh? Now she needs an entirely new fence and is suing for the $5,000 it's going to cost her. This is the defendant, Karen. She says her tree guy denies damaging the plaintiff's fence. Her property isn't maintained, her fence is old and raggedy, and she's not footing the bill for a new fence for the nasty neighbor. She's accused of causing a feud.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Nana Osei Tutu?
Yes.
You are suing your neighbor, Karen, for $5,000. According to you, you're out $17,000 to replace the fence because her landscaper dropped a ladder on your fence. Tell me what happened.
Well, basically, the landscaper was doing work on her property, and he took it upon himself to use the ladder and bang it on my fence in three different places. And the force of the ladder banging the fence popped the fence out. My fence is an older fence, but it's a sturdy fence. So I have...
How do you know that he did that?
Because I have video of it.
Of him doing it? Could you
Yes.
show me that video?
Sure.
In the middle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's see this one first. Okay, the ladder is against her house. I'm going to need you to come over here. We can't do this way. I don't know what I'm looking at. I need you to describe it. So you come right here.
Let me actually turn the volume up.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the landscaper with the fence.
Right.
He was using the fence.
Now I want to see him dropping it on your gate. Where's your gate?
This is my gate behind the bush. That's one.
Okay, but hold on. He just put that on that tree, on that bush.
It's my fence is behind here.
Oh, this is your gate. It runs like that.
Exactly.
All right.
So first he used it here, and
I mean, that doesn't look like it broke your fence. I see him leaning that ladder against your fence. Yeah. I don't see that fence came down or anything else, or that it's...
You just have to wait because there's two other videos.
Okay.
Again with the ladder.
So this is your fence here, and that's him dropping.
And now look, as he goes on uses the ladder.
He's crazy. I can't believe he's got a chainsaw in one hand, and he just leans a ladder into a tree.
The ladder is so heavy
with a chainsaw in one hand, and then the ladder, and then it falls off the ladder
because the ladder is so heavy.
No, because he's nuts.
Okay, and then this, if you want to go...
The ladder's not that heavy. He's carrying it with one hand. I mean... But I see that he's doing that, and that's incredibly rude, but I don't see that it damaged your fence. Do you have pictures of a damaged fence?
Yes.
Okay. Did you come out and... Go ahead and go back.
Yeah.
Did you go out and tell them... how did you find out about this?
Well, how I found out about it is because every time the landscapers come, they use their truck and they ram their truck into my tree and they break the branches off of the tree. And so one particular day, the landscaper was cutting the tree, and I'm like, okay, that's my tree. I don't understand why you're cutting the tree.
Have you had a run-in with the landscaper before?
Never had a run-in with the landscaper. I don't know the landscaper.
How do you know all the stuff that you just said?
How do I know that the landscaper damaged the fence?
The trees.
The tree. Because
every time he comes, he hits the tree. How do you know that?
Because my security cameras record as...
Right, so at any point in time, did you walk out and say, stop hitting my tree?
I did.
Right, so you've had a, that to me is a run-in. Okay. I mean, so did you say to them, hey, you guys keep backing into my tree or whatever?
Yes.
And don't touch my tree?
I explained it to them multiple times. I said, every time you come, just park a little bit away from the tree because your truck is
And what's
tall.
his response?
And his response is, okay. And every time he doesn't do it. So
did you ever come out and talk to him about the ladder and the fence?
I did. When I went to go approach him about the tree situation, I also said, don't use your ladder against my fence because you guys broke it. After I saw...
And what did he say?
He said, okay, I'm sorry. I said, why are you doing that to my tree? He was like, my boss told me to do it. So then I went to go approach the person that told him to cut the tree, which was his boss. And the boss from then on became rude.
So why aren't you suing the landscaper if they damaged your fence? Why are you suing her? What'd she do wrong? What'd you do?
The first that I'm hearing of this is from small claims court saying that
You were being sued for that?
Yes, that I'm being sued for $5,000 for damaging my neighbor's fence.
Do you two know each other or no?
No, when I moved there 20 years ago, she was a little girl. I don't know her. She lives there by herself now.
Okay.
This is 20 years later. Her parents moved out. All her family's gone.
Have you had any contact with each other?
No.
Like unpleasant contact or anything?
The only contact we get is my umbrella flew on the lawn about 2 weeks ago, and she called the police. The police came 6 o'clock in the morning to my house, and I'm like, what's this? And they said, do you have problems with her? That's what they said to me. And I said, not that I know of. And they said, well, she called us because the weather's changing now. So on my deck, I have a table with an umbrella. When the wind blew, it blew on her side.
Did you call the police for that?
Yes.
You call the police for that?
I called the police for that. Yes, I did.
Why didn't you just call your neighbor and tell them, hey, you might want to get your umbrella?
Her and her husband have an issue where they like to trespass onto my property. And so the husband stole golf clubs from me.
Really? How do
Yes.
you know he did that?
Because he walked off my property with a set of golf clubs.
Well, did you call the police?
Yes, I did call the police.
And what happened with
The
that?
police said at the time, I couldn't retrieve the video. And so they said because I don't have the video of him or any pictures of him on my property that they couldn't do anything. So
is this new to you?
I never heard any of this. I never heard about golf clubs, trees.
What were your golf clubs doing outside anyway?
I was packing them I was taking them in my car.
Okay. Can I see pictures of the damaged fence?
Sure.
Did you ever talk to your neighbor before you sued her to tell her, hey, your landscapers, are a problem?
I did not talk to her because of the fact that she likes to trespass on my property with her husband. And
What does she do when she trespasses on your property?
That's what I would like to know.
No, have you seen her do it?
I've seen her do it.
Right. What do you see her doing?
She came onto my property. Her husband took my golf clubs. They exited the property.
Oh, okay. Did you? You didn't even mention that in your complaint. You know that, right? That's not even in your complaint that they stole golf clubs from you. What you mentioned is that her daughter, somebody was walking a dog. So when did it become stolen golf clubs and not walking a dog? I wonder.
There's a history with her.
So what is it you were looking for to show me?
This is basically the damage to the fence.
Yeah, that's what I want. Pictures of the damage to the fence.
Okay. And then there's also pictures of the other poles, the other 3 poles surrounding the fence to show that the other 3 fences are still intact, except for the pole that the ladder was
How old is this
used on.
fence?
I moved into the house in '87, so the fence is old.
This side here is on her property or your property?
That's my property.
If that's your property, how could a fence on this that would be leaning on this knock that off?
The rings that were holding it popped off.
How old did you say this fence was?
I moved in the house in '87, so the fence is old.
Okay. So how do you figure you're going to get $17,000 or $5,000 statutory maximum? That it costs $17,000 to replace your 40-year-old, chain link fence? That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yes, it's ridiculous on your part. Can I see? You have pictures that you want me to see.
Yes, I do.
Let me see that. Her fence as viewed from the side of my yard. That's so it's a chain link fence and it has the plastic in and out, weaving in and out, and there's missing pieces in a lot of places.
Right.
So you're trying to show me like the decay of the fence.
Right.
And there's weeds growing into the fence.
Right.
Plastic missing in a lot of places. Picture shows house at 1:30 a.m. Why are you taking a picture of the house at 1:30 a.m.? Oh, because she's out there?
And I was coming in, and there's floodlights all around the house. There's cameras all around the house. There's no trespassing signs, private property signs.
You think
all
she's
around
just
the house.
excessively Paranoid.
Yes, that's why I would have normally knocked on the door and said what happened.
Property from my has she ever accused you publicly of or privately
I
of
never heard of that.
This is the first time you hear it in my court.
One time years ago when she said that my daughters were tumbling on the front yard. My daughter's 39 years old now. She said they were tumbling on the lawn. So I told them don't go near there.
Okay, more pictures of the fence and its condition. Pictures of the fence across the property taken from, ew. You think she's just trying to get a new fence out of you?
Yeah.
Over something that you didn't do?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So does this neighbor have to pay for a brand new fence for the plaintiff when it was a rickety old fence?
Yes, she should have to pay for the new fence. It was her tree service that knocked the fence down.
True statement, but it's an old, crappy fence.
Well, if it's an old, crappy fence, then he should fix it so that it at least stands up. She doesn't have to buy a brand new fence.
Well, the thing is, I mean, who's going to fix it? I mean, the fence is now ruined. So does she get like a little bit of money, or does she get a brand new fence?
I think she should get a little bit of money, and I think that they should work together because they share a fence that's raggedy, so that they both should go into it together to fix it. But the owner should actually, that had the tree service, she should pay more because she actually, was her fault that it got knocked down.
That's complicated, but I actually kind of agree with you on that. Going inside the courtroom.
Did you ever talk to the landscapers and say you owe me for damaging my my fence?
I didn't say you owe me, but I let them know that they damaged the fence.
Okay. So now let me see again your pictures of the damaged fence. It's basically that this has that these little links are done, and you think you're going to get $5 grand for that? Why wouldn't you get a repair? Do you have an estimate for the repair?
I have estimate I have 3 estimates for repair.
Okay, and the repair would entail just pushing this back there and putting the little things. You say, well, we can't repair it because it won't match, so now I need the whole thing done to the tune of $17,000.
This is what the estimates that I have is from what the
okay, let's start with, let me start with the following.
Okay.
Number one, for her to owe you, it's not enough that she owns the property that somebody was landscaping. She needs to have done something wrong. What did she do wrong?
Being negligent.
By doing what?
By not ensuring that the landscapers
then
are
that
working
means
on her
that
property.
no matter what somebody does on her property, she's responsible, and that's not the law.
No,
she's not responsible. But I got to tell you, even if you were to file a suit against the landscapers, I'm not sure that your video shows them doing anything but leaning their ladder against your fence, and that's certainly technically a trespass. They shouldn't be able to lean it against your fence because no good can come to you from that. But the most, if anything, that you would be able to collect from the landscapers would be what it costs to attach that again. You're not going to get $5,000 from the landscapers either. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
So the plaintiff's argument did not pass muster with the judge, and she fails to get $5,000. You can get anything from it. What are you thinking right now?
That's okay. I just wanted to show that, she should be more careful with her landscapers and the work that they do on her property.
You could have gone next door and talked to her about it,
She has a problem with me, a personal issue with me.
And the lawsuit's not going to help it anymore, is it?
That's okay.
What do you think is going to happen?
So that this is her knowing that I am not afraid to speak up for myself.
Okay. She's got the message, I'm sure. Thank you very much. Karen?
Yes.
Did you hear what she just said?
I did. I stay far away. People ask me why didn't I knock on her door to find out when I got this, because it says no trespassing, private property, all around. There's surveillance cameras. I told my grandkids and my kids, cross the street and walk when you walk by that house, because it's sad.
And are there floodlights lit all night long?
Floodlights all night long.
All night long. Wow. It's lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yes. Bad.
All right. I feel sorry for you.
I feel sorry for all of us over there.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Congratulations. Harvey?
Well, look, I mean, the deal here is that the landscaper is an independent contractor, which means that the homeowner that hired the landscaper is not responsible.